Okay, let's start by establishing Proctor's baseline premise. He states right out of the gate that the law of attraction isn't just some on and off switch you flip when you want a new car or something. He actually compares it directly to a fundamental force of nature. The whole idea is that this law is an absolute, unavoidable constant. It's exactly like dropping a heavy object to the ground. I mean, gravity never suddenly pulls things upward, right? And according to this source, the law of attraction is relentlessly constant in the exact same way.
So to really grasp this, we're going to follow a quick roadmap. First, we'll look at a law like gravity. Second, the mind-body energy connection. Third, the power of paradigms. And finally, changing your attraction frequency.
Let's kick things off with Section 1. A law like gravity, the universal constant.
According to this model, the entire universe is governed by a foundational law of vibration. The source material argues that absolutely nothing rests. We literally live in an ocean of motion. What does that mean? It means every single thing is vibrating all the time, and the energy you emit is always pulling matching energy right back to you. So you are constantly in a state of vibration, and therefore constantly in a state of attraction.
Moving right along to Section 2, the mind-body energy connection. Let's see exactly how we produce this vibration. Proctor argues that we totally misperceive our own physical forms. Think about it for a second. If you looked at the human body under a super powerful microscope, or maybe an infrared camera in a pitch-black room, it wouldn't look solid at all. It would look like this glistening, radiating form of moving, dancing energy. And he points out a really fascinating detail here. This energy actually continues to move even after death. If it didn't, the body would never break down. So when you get right down to it, our physical form is fundamentally just a mass of vibrating energy.
Now, to understand what actually controls that energy, Proctor splits the mind into two distinct parts. On one side, we've got the conscious mind. This is your educated, rational brain. It gathers information, it thinks freely, and it can build basically any idea you choose. But on the other side is the subconscious mind, and this one is entirely emotional. Think back to when you were an infant. Your subconscious mind was wide open, acting like a literal sponge for every single piece of environmental energy around you, with absolutely no ability to reject any of it.
Which brings us to Section 3, the power of paradigms, the core antagonists in this whole theory.
You've got to wonder, right? If the conscious mind is so incredibly powerful, if it can rack up brilliant degrees, read countless books, and come up with these great ideas, why doesn't that always translate into tangible success? I mean, we all know people who are super smart but just seem stuck. Why is there such a massive disconnect between conscious knowledge and actual results?
Well, the answer to that disconnect, according to the source material, rests entirely on one single, invisible barrier: the paradigm.
So, what is that exactly? The crucial point here is that a paradigm is essentially deeply ingrained programming. It was formed by generations of genetics and heavily shaped by your early environment, way before you even had a say in the matter. This paradigm lives deep in that emotional subconscious mind we talked about, and it secretly controls the actual physical vibration your body is in. Because the body's vibration dictates what you attract, it's actually this hidden paradigm, not your fancy educated conscious mind, that's truly steering the ship.
Let's look at how this plays out in everyday life. Proctor divides our thinking into X-type and Y-type thoughts. Your paradigm, it operates on familiar X-type energy. When your conscious mind thinks those familiar X-type thoughts, everything feels cozy and comfortable, and you produce the exact same results you always have. But what happens when you try to change things up? The second you introduce a new, out-of-the-box Y-type idea, your established paradigm literally fights back. It absolutely hates stepping out of its comfort zone. And this is exactly why just thinking positive usually fails. The underlying paradigm fiercely rejects that new frequency.
So, how in the world does someone overcome this emotional discomfort and actually change their reality within this framework? Let's move to Section 4, changing your attraction frequency, reprogramming reality.
Okay, here is Proctor's specific formula for changing reality. You can't just change your conscious thinking and magically expect a new life. Nope. You have to take those new thoughts and actively impress them upon your emotional subconscious, effectively bypassing that old, stubborn paradigm. Only when the subconscious really accepts this new information does your body's physical vibration actually shift. And once that vibration changes, that's when you begin to attract harmonious energy and people, which finally produces new results.
To make this super easy to visualize, Proctor uses the analogy of a radio. Basically, you and I operate on frequencies. There are an infinite number of frequencies out there in the world, but you can only attract the music or the wealth, the health, the opportunities that is actively tuned into your current vibrational state. If your paradigm has you tuned to a frequency of limitation, all the conscious wishing in the world isn't going to let you hear the music playing on the frequency of abundance.
So, to literally change your station, you have to force a shift. How? By actively focusing on gratitude, dropping the negative inputs, and continuously programming in positive information to force a feel-good vibration. Feeling is really just a conscious awareness of the vibration we're currently in. When we don't feel good, we're in a negative vibration. We have to intentionally feed gratitude-based info to our subconscious to empower that shift right into a positive frequency.
To illustrate this point, Proctor actually cites his own life trajectory. He states that back in 1961, he was handed a book containing some pretty uncomfortable, out-of-the-box U-type ideas. But despite the massive discomfort of stepping outside his paradigm, he went ahead and applied them. And he claims this reprogramming skyrocketed his income from just $4,000 a year all the way to a staggering $175,000, and eventually to well over $1 million.
Now, he notes it took him nearly a decade to logically reverse engineer the exact mechanics of what had actually happened to him. But the core takeaway from his experience, and really the crux of this entire framework, is that once the subconscious paradigm successfully shifts, the struggle just ends. Attracting new results becomes completely automatic simply because your baseline frequency has fundamentally changed.
So, if our reality is truly just a reflection of our subconscious programming, take a hard look at the results in your life today. What radio frequency is your paradigm tuning you into right now? Are you hearing the music you want, or is it time to push through the discomfort and finally change the station?